All right, I hope that helps. I hope that helps. There's definitely some lag happening here on Salient Points number 93. This one's for December 13th, 2022. I'm Carlos Macias, the master of what, Dalan?
Master of Turbo Man.
Oh, Master of Turbo Man. Okay, I'll take it. Carlos Macias, Master of Turbo
Holiday
Man.
appropriate.
We are sponsored by Doritos Football Man Edition. I see, Dalan. I bet you don't even know who the man on the cover is, Dalan. Who is that? No, don't look at the name on the thing that they put on the side.
Cheating
I don't even
motherfucker.
think the name is on here.
Okay,
good.
good.
I don't know his name.
Good.
I don't care who's on the cover of my
All
Cool
of a
Ranch
sudden.
Doritos.
All of
The
a
fact
sudden.
is, this is my Cool Ranch Doritos. Leave
All right.
my
Well,
Cool
Dalan
Ranch
Kirkwood
Doritos
from
alone.
up in the mountains. I can't really see it too well, Dalan. It could be Zeke. It could be Dak. It could. I don't know. I don't know. Don't crunch around, Dalan. Don't crunch around for it, please.
It's number 21, whoever
Okay.
that is.
Who's that? I don't know who that. It might be Z. Is that who I'm looking at? I don't know. Dale Blas, the king of Mid Bay. Thank you for joining us this week, sir. What are you over here enjoying? What are you partaking in?
Yo ho! Oh, we're tonight.
Yo,
tonight,
ho! You went real pirate on
I'm
us.
we're sponsored by Truly. Well, I'm
Okay.
sponsored by Truly
There we
tonight.
go. Ooh, we gotta get some
Bringing it back.
some lit hot takes. And also Jeremy Lowe looking very festive out there with the tree, with the lights on and everything. Jeremy Lowe, thank you for joining us, sir.
Yep.
All right.
Glad to
there
be
we go.
here.
There we go. We'll get right to it. You guys
Are
did.
you though?
Oh damn. he was he definitely could be playing. What could you be playing instead right now, Jeremy?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, all of a sudden we're gonna wait.
Okay, let's do
He
it.
definitely
There's
was-
literally a section for this.
Okay, he definitely was like, I could be playing this instead of like, nah, let's just jump on. Luis isn't on. He went to the game. Thank you, Luis, the man on the wheels of steel. I like talking crap just in case he's listening and putting the show together. Potentially, we talk a little crap to him. But look, we'll get right to it. The people speak. Jet, as per usual, on the YouTube comments. I don't know if you know who Jet is, Jeremy. We'll tell you later. We don't want to dox him. But Jet, as always, everyone can YouTube, like, subscribe, comment. By the way, we got a whole bunch of views last week, so keep the views up. We kind of like that. Maybe we can definitely get sponsored by someone. At some point.
Jeremy, hit up Jet like you know him.
You
I
do
do.
know him. You do know him. The first thing on here, you guys didn't really care to comment. Maybe he went off, but he said, I love the non-linear progression and open exploration of the new Pokemon game. I love seeing the Pokemon moving around the overworld. It does have its flaws. You can't glide as far as you can in Breath of the Wild. And there are some Pokemon trapped behind walls on occasion, but still the most fun Pokemon game I've ever played. I'm sure Luis would have something to say. Maybe next week he can kind of come back to it. But yeah, one main difference I would say real quick, Jet, is that Breath of the Wild can actually run on that thing. All right, these new Pokemons are having a rough time.
It's struggling.
I know off wax we were even talking about like maybe they can update it. It's like update it to what exactly? Because they need to update the hardware. Next thing we have on here is Jet. He says, who needs GTA 6 when you have Final Fantasy 16? Prostitution, hate crimes, torture. Let's add in some war crimes and you have a US Black Ops mission. All right, Jet. Okay, keeping it real interesting right there. We'll go to Jeremy first. What do you make of this man's comment, Jeremy?
I don't see where he's coming from with that, but he's trying.
Mm-hmm. He's making an effort.
He's really reaching.
Dalan, what do you think?
Hey, medieval GTA. I will accept this premise that he has quoted.
Okay, there you go. Dale? We did talk about it a bit last week, right? So
Yeah,
this
I
is
think
kinda
we
what
got
got
really
into.
excited about it, honestly.
That's why he's commenting on it, is because we mentioned it last week.
But I think everyone got excited about it because like everyone's like, oh, it sounds like GTA, and and everyone's still playing GTA 5 apparently. So like, man, we're getting a new GTA 5. Sounds great.
Well, I mean, it's like how we had talked about last week. It's Game of Thrones the game, right? It's Game of Thrones the game, and it's fine. I'm down. I'm down. It comes out pretty soon. We'll talk about that in a little while when that comes out because we actually have an official date. But we'll get right into kind of the big things. The big thing this past week, of course, is that we're learning from Microsoft that they entered a 10-year deal with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Nintendo systems and to continue bringing the titles to Steam. Brad Smith did shoot out a tweet, who is the vice chair and president at Microsoft. He said, quote, Our acquisition will bring Call of Duty to more gamers and more platforms than ever before. That's good for competition and good for consumers. Thank you at Nintendo. Any day at Sony wants to sit down and talk, we'll be happy to hammer out a 10-year deal for PlayStation as well. One of the internal reports actually talks about how, Sony labeled all this smoke and mirrors. That's a quote. Quote, Nintendo's younger audience is not interested in the first-person shooter, end quote. It's just a quote-unquote tactic to make Microsoft look cooperative with regulators. And of course it is, right? It's kind of one of those wacky things where Microsoft is like, but look, we'll work with Nintendo. We're even making deals out here with Nintendo, as if anyone gives a crap about like Call of Duty being on Nintendo. I'm sure it'll sell a couple copies, right? But what do you make of this, Dale? What do you make of these guys like, hey, but look, Nintendo wants to work with us on this?
Man, dude, when that tweet dropped from Brad Smith and from Phil Spencer, like, it was hilarious. It was entertaining as hell, because we were just like, oh shoot, Microsoft's fighting back. They have some sort of like plan to get around this whole Sony deal so they could get the ABK deal done. So I was just like, this is great. We're seeing the Microsoft of old that's trying to like fight back. None of this like, cooperation kind of mode that they've been in the last like 10 years, in past 2 generations now. So I was like, that's great. However, it was all kind of a moot point, especially what happened 24 hours later, during the Game Awards, right before the Game Awards. But I was like, cool, that sounds awesome. I don't know what like state or what kind of specific deal they had with Nintendo, because I don't think Nintendo even specified what they were.
Well, and it's all like contingent.
10-year deal done.
And
yeah,
it's all
exactly.
contingent on like, well, if this deal goes
It was like
through,
a gentleman's agreement.
Yeah, kind of.
It was a gentleman's agreement. Nobody signed nothing. We just showed up at the park, we shook hands, switched briefcases, and walked away.
That's right. That's like the funny thing about it.
But notice, and also notice how they said Nintendo systems. They didn't say Nintendo Switch, right? So they can be like, we'll bring it to the next thing. I mean, show us something. You can barely run your own games with Pokemon, as we can see. So it's really wacky, but I like it though. I like it. It definitely, Sony's like, this is just a tactic. It's like, no shit, Sony, it's a tactic. They're just trying to get this deal through. And ultimately, like we mentioned before, they really just want King, right? They want a mobile. They like Activision Blizzard's like a little
money.
like sure, Call of Duty's involved. We'll make money on Acti Blizzard games, but we want that King. We want that King mobile money. Dalan, was that your statement? The suitcases swap? The
No,
suitcase
that was
swap?
because of Dale.
And the suitcases were empty.
Exactly.
You have nothing on us, police.
That's the gentleman's
no.
agreement.
No, but what I was gonna say is I actually did find this tweet funny simply because obviously, yes, it was a call out to Sony, but they're like, any day, Sony, we are ready for you to come and do this. They got that olive branch just out
Those
there.
are those little stray bullets, Dale. Those little stray shots, little stray shots.
They're trying so hard to work with Sony instead of just trying to like screw them over. They're like, take our deal. Just take our deal.
just
you got other people doing it. Just take it. Just come on. I think it's the one thing I will talk about though is that I realize that as many times as this particular news story has come up, they are very much set on 10 years. I believe there was a point where they were talking about 3 or 5 years, but now they're just outright set on 10 years.
Yeah. Which I think Dale's made a great point, right? He's put it on wax talking about how 10 years is a long time, right? It's really just kind of like, all right, 10 years. It just seems too good to be true type of deal, right? It's kind of what you were going for, Dale, that it's like, look, it's a long-ass term deal that they're going for here. So it's
No, what I was trying to say is that 10 years is not an attractive deal, and that Sony would like never go for something like, or Microsoft would never go for something like that. So then they would negotiate it down to like 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
That's what they ultimately really want, because they don't want Sony hanging around with this stuff for too long. Like they just want it long enough to like, okay, we're gonna get this deal passed, and then once we get to the next systems or next generation systems or whatever, then they'll cut them off.
And you know what?
I think that's based on the renew portion of it. And like after the 10 years, then the renewal contract would be like, all right, I'll give you 1 more year.
No concession, dude. No way.
Year.
Well, and it's one of those things that ultimately Sony doesn't want this to go through at all, right? They're just kind of throwing shit at the wall. It's like, but look this, but look at that. And Phil Spencer actually did come out and he actually did mention that the PlayStation blocking of this deal is rooted in its desire desire to, quote, protect their dominance on console by making Xbox smaller, right? So they're kind of like hoping it's like, we don't want you guys to grow. We need to keep you where you are. And of course, Microsoft has been making the counter arguments all day, right? About like, we're not as big as them. We're not as big as Sony. We're not as big as Nintendo. And PlayStation's like, we know. We know the truth.
You can say we know, but it's just the three biggest consoles. Well, I can't even really call it a console. But I'll say the three biggest consoles: Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. Whenever you talk about consoles, those are the only three you really talk about. Yeah, the Steam Deck is out there. I believe there's another handheld system that came out that I can't remember the name of.
Logitech.
Yeah, the Logitech, the LG or whatever it is. Yeah. You have the Atari system,
which we quickly dismissed because one of them is like a cloud-based system, right? We just like get out of here. What is this? What is this nonsense?
Yeah, but but we also have the Atari system that came in. I can't even remember what that was called. It's like AVS or something like that. Yeah. And I was gung ho for that because it's also basically a PC, but that one's stuck to your TV.
Yeah, none of that stuff is fun, dude. Like, that's really the main thing, Dale. That's the main concern here. But look, to quickly move on, the big thing, this was from yesterday, actually, is that in one of the deals, this from Bloomberg is reporting that actually Microsoft has gone as far as even, like, considering, like, telling Sony, it's like, look, you can even actually put Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus. So they're going as far as like, please let us make this deal go through. We really want King. But we'll give you Call of Duty on PlayStation Plus. So it's kind of like they'll even let them do that. Which, of course, Microsoft, when they get it, they're going to put it on Game Pass, right? But so that's kind of interesting, I guess, right? That they're going that far to like put it on Plus. Even put it on Plus. At that point, you know what? All of us here have PlayStation Plus and Game Pass. I'm assuming you just get it on both at that point, right? That's kind of like the best of both worlds. What do you make of that one, Dave? You got any kind of thought? It's a little weird, right? That they say PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, they definitely. I don't know why they're definitely set on that 10-year deal thing, but they specifically want it. This is how I would think if I was their business model. Like Microsoft wants to further the proliferation of like subscription services and like cloud-based gaming and everything like that. That's their MO. Like that's where they're going to make a lot of their money, right? So that's why they would want people to get accustomed to like that kind of thinking and to have Sony as one of the biggest players in the gaming space, like subscribe to something like that with one of the biggest franchises is going to be a plus for them. Not only that, but I feel like, to me, Game Pass and how it works is far superior right now to how the PlayStation Plus ecosystem works, as far as like connectivity, how I could play my games. I could play my games on my phone, on my tablet, on my console, on my PC, and you can't. And all the files and everything and cross saves, they all work, and it doesn't happen like that on PSN, which is kind of a negative. So there's already they know that like, we have this platform and we are kind of like superior in technology compared to like Sony at that time. Which is an
interesting thing that's for Game Pass, right? They want it all like Game Pass, pay for the subscription, you get everything. So it's kind of interesting that they're like, PlayStation, you can even have it on PlayStation Plus, man, or Plus Supreme or whatever. Like that's how much they want this deal to go through. It's like
while still allowing it, right? Yeah. And still coming out kind of ahead. But whatever gets them there, they'll probably secede to it.
There you go. Well, that's it for the Microsoft thing. The latest wrinkle in this whole saga. And I'm sure we'll get more details as far as the PlayStation Plus thing, which is like, at that point, it's like, PlayStation, what are we doing here, man? Like, what is this really about? But we'll get to
the next episode of this.
Yeah. So we'll get to the next thing. Of course, is the Game Awards. We had plenty. The game of the year, best game direction, all that stuff. And we also got some reveals. But first up, I think we'll go in reverse order, right? Like game of the year, of course, went to Elden Ring, or Eld Ring, as our buddy Jet would call it. And God of War Ragnarok did win 6 awards: Best Narrative, Best Score, Action Adventure, Audio Design, Innovation and Accessibility, and Best Performance by Christopher Judge, which this man took like 7 minutes. I don't know if you guys watched his acceptance speech, and I was like, oh, they're gonna play the music. They're gonna play the music.
But I heard all about it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they're gonna cut this man off. They did not cut him off. It was 7 minutes of him and geriatric Al Pacino next to him, just standing there.
What was he
like,
doing there?
He was presented.
He just got
He was
signed
supposed
on
to
to
be like
show
a special guest that was
Yeah.
introducing that particular
Really?
award
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
He didn't even have like a cameo in a game or anything
No.
like
He-
coming up.
No,
with
they were just
nothing?
like, hey,
Yeah.
let's get this
Video
random
games, he's
celebrity to
involved
show
in
the
up,
hell?
and yeah.
Yeah, so
They
they
would have been better off getting Danny Glover.
look. I appreciate it, but the man, even at presenting, look, he's showing his age out. He's definitely not Scarface Al Pacino. I'll tell you that. But or even Godfather. Well, Godfather's older. He was even younger than that, right? But yeah. So he came out to present the Christopher Judge Award. It was fine. It was cool, but it was long, man. I was like, okay, let's just have Al Pacino just hanging around. But we'll go first. So God of War received a bunch of them, and I don't know if I've heard it before, but somehow I feel like what they do is like if a game wins a whole bunch of awards, that they disqualifies them from Game of the Year or something like that. I don't know if I've heard that before. Dale, do you know? Have you heard something like this or no? It's just no. They can win everything.
No.
They can win Game of the Year and everything else. But maybe that's what it is.
I mean, they did what Last of Us 2 did. I don't know why you're worried about that.
What happened with Last of Us 2? They won all.
Last of Us 2, they won a bunch of awards, and then they got Game of the Year.
Okay, there you go. It just seemed, but it's funny because you would think Elden Ring, if it was that great of a game, it would have picked up these other games. Because when you got God of War Ragnarok winning every single other thing, is like, wait a minute, what is the Game of the Year here? But we'll go with.
I didn't understand that pick either.
Well, we'll go with you, Jeremy.
It's
what do you
Game
think?
of the End of the Year. That's what it is.
So, Jeremy, what do you? How do you feel, man? As far as Game of the Year, any other awards that?
No,
you
I
might have
mean,
heard about?
God of War got snubbed. That's all there is to it. Elden Ring was cool, but nowhere near as good as God of War.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good, but yeah, it'll be interesting because last year we actually agreed with the Game Awards. If you guys remember, they got It Takes Two. Like, oh, that's not gonna win. We got comps. It's like it did on our graded. We have a weighted system, but it won. They won that shit. So you gotta appreciate that. So I feel potentially we could be disagreeing this year. We'll see in a couple weeks when we do our Game of the Year stuff. Dalan, what do you think, man? What do you think about Elden Ring Game of the Year or any other awards? I guess that you might have seen pop up.
Understand the fact that Elden Ring has had more time to settle throughout the year, and God of War just came out freaking last month. So God of War hasn't had the time to gain the praise that it actually deserves. Obviously, there's that initial praise of the game being launched, everybody knowing that the game is beautiful, but people had a chance to actually play through Elden Ring and beat it and say, hey, friends, join me in playing this game. A lot of people still haven't even beaten God of War. I'm pretty sure you're still in the middle of playing
I'm
it.
still
I'm in the middle of playing it.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm still playing through it.
Yeah, that's the thing, is everybody's still playing God of War. So everybody's like, oh, this game is beautiful and it sounds awesome, but I don't know if it's Game of the Year because I haven't finished the story.
Yeah. That's fair. But how does it win 7 other awards is my question. Like, okay, reasonable.
All you got to do is boot up the game and know that the music is beautiful. And know that it looks awesome.
That's all you need to know it's Game of the Year, right, Dalan? So, Dale, what do you make of all this?
Smooth. All you got to do is roll once in the snow. See that first cinematic.
It is. Oh, it's very smooth, especially coming off of Callisto Protocol, man. We'll talk about that a little later. Just a little teaser.
Yeah. We
but Dale, what do you make of the Game of the Year stuff here?
Oh yeah, like I'm sad that I was wrong because it's on wax that I said God of War was going to be Game of the Year, and I was getting hyped because they was winning all those awards. And I was like, oh shoot, I think it's going to happen, right? But then like
the legs right out from under you.
Right,
Sweep the
I didn't watch the Game Awards, but like I was like going through Twitter as I'm doing other stuff as we do, and then like I was like, oh shit, like this one this and this one this, and I was like, oh shoot, God of War is definitely going to win it. But as I was like following up on it, I was like, you know what? I don't want God of War to win. I want Elden Ring to win. You know, only because, and I haven't even played like either one too much. Only because I know on Twitter Nation, if God of War won, the Sony ponies would be so insufferable for like the next 12 months about bragging about it and like console warring about it that I'd be so annoyed that I would not use Twitter anymore to that point. It was kind of like when the Rams won the Super Bowl, and I was like, and I said that to you guys because you're all in there. I was like, oh my god, I hope they don't win because I'd be so annoying.
I'm here for the upset.
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean,
Dale,
but it didn't happen.
I love how you be coming up with these terminology. The Sony pony,
dude. That's a thing.
But look, this is what I've talked about before. Dalan uses the internet, is not on the internet, because that Sony pony's been around for a good while, Dalan.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
you've never heard
Jay-
The whole term.
But you've
that's
never
what I was
heard
about
the
to
term
say.
hit shy.
But no, Hitchhike is not. Hitchhike is not out there. You made it up, which is fine.
It is a
You
thing.
Which
gotta
is
be on,
fine.
Dalen. You gotta be on the internet and Twitter and
got
put that out there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then so people start using
And
it.
then we know it's out there. Real quickly, there was at the very end, very calmly, there was a kid in the background while they were accepting the kind of Game of the Year award. There was a kid that kind of crashed it. He came up to the mic. He was standing behind the guys accepting the award. And at some point, this kid comes up and is like, what the hell is this? He worked on the game. And he goes up and says, quote, I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi, Bill Clinton. Thank you, everybody. And then you see like Jeff Keighley like trying to escort this man away. Well, a 15-year-old. So we found out his name is Matan. 15-year-old quote-unquote Jewish prankster by our favorite person, Jason Schreier, Dale. And I like that Keeley did come out and say, quote, the individual who interrupted our Game of the War moment has been arrested. And then all the journalists like, he didn't get arrested, but he has trolled in the past or whatever. But it was weird. It wasn't necessarily like. It was weird and
He
disruptive.
didn't do anything with malice, but he
know.
did some shit.
It was wacky. It just kind of threw you off a little bit. But what do you make of this whole thing, Dale? This kid just popping up on there.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to make a quick comment. I thought it was funny. I don't know, like it was funny that everyone was super confused about what was
They
happening.
didn't know what to do.
Even Jeff Keighley was just like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Like he knew because he runs that show.
Yeah.
Like a what? Like a time? Like what is it? A really roundup watch or whatever. How the expression is.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Well, you can tell from between that and the Christopher Judge thing that they're the Game Awards is as organized as it is still amateur hour compared to other award shows.
Hey man, I will
but
say
we did
that
just
they
see us,
always have like one memorable thing every year.
Yeah. But hey,
that's the nice thing about it.
Hey, as well run as a well-oiled machine or whatever that it is, or like say the Oscars, someone did get slapped at the Oscars, so it's kind of like. They just let a man walk up and smack someone. So
the maker of It Takes Two said, "Fuck somebody." Who's he said? "Fuck the Oscars."
Oh yeah,
fuck the Oscars.
Fuck the Oscars. Joseph Ferris. Hey, we're looking forward to that game, man. By the way, that sequel to our Game of the Year last year. But I mean, it was all right. It still feels long. It still feels like a long show, right? But I thought it was okay, and we got plenty of reels. So we're going down to the reveals list. So that's kind of what you get the hype the most, right? One of the big reveals was Final Fantasy 16. They did drop a new trailer, which gives us all the Game of Thrones feels, of course, the mature themes, etc. And we do have a release date, June 22nd, 2023. I'm sure that's pending a potential delay, of course. But Jeremy, what did you make of it? Did you get a chance to see the trailer, by the way, or you?
Yeah, I did. So the trailer itself is pretty good, right? Like I enjoyed the trailer. I thought it was pretty awesome. But as far as the game itself is concerned, I'm honestly not that excited about it. Like after seeing things like the gameplay, the combat in particular, and the fact that it's very limiting in the amount of characters you can actually play as. And the other thing that really bugs me is that the guy who's directing the game, Naoki Yoshida, is also the primary game director for Final Fantasy XIV, the online game. So this dude's time is being split between an MMO and this. And an MMO takes ridiculous amounts of time to stay on top of, to manage that sort of a project.
Very good point. Good point.
So between the things that I've seen and that, I'm gonna wait until some reviews drop before I buy it. It won't be a day one purchase for me.
Babylon Fall, huh, Dalan? So what?
That was bad. That was just bad.
That was
awful. Hey, they still had one user. All right, they still had one user, and that man was keeping. He even has a feature, I think, on Kotaku. Like, there's one man playing this game, and I like how Square Enix like, all right, we'll still support the game for the one person, and then they're like, nah, we ain't gonna do shit, man. I mean, there's nobody there. There's nobody. Dalan, what do you make of this, man? Are you just about as hyped as Jeremy, or a little more? What do you think about this?
I very much skipped that trailer because I just want the game. Just
Blackout, huh?
Sony, this is one of those moments where I'm like, Sony, take my money. I don't need Blackout for this. I already know that I want it. I don't care how many pictures or trailers that you show to me. Just give me the game. Just give me the game.
There you go.
I'm gonna play it. I'll judge it for
now,
myself,
Jeremy,
like every other Final Fantasy.
Now, Jeremy, where do you get? So you're saying like there's less characters, or just kind of where they've been showing that? I don't know if they haven't been showing that in these trailers, right? These have been kind of cinematic.
Right. They show one character that you play as.
So we don't know, right? They could
I
potentially.
think they showed like 3.
But wait and see.
But that you actually control.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that.
So definitely like on the.
I got bad vibes after Final Fantasy
Alright.
12 because
Which
the
is
AI for that was like meh.
Which is fair. Jeremy's taking the wait and see approach. Dalen's like, here's my money. The check is in the mail. The check is in the mail.
Hey, 15 did a significantly better job with that. So
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm hoping that they bring that to the table, but I'm pretty sure whoever made Final Fantasy 15 is trying to bring that to the Kingdom Hearts 4 table. So we'll see what happens.
There we go. All right, the next thing, of course, is Armored Core 6. Fires of Rubicon. It won't quote unquote just be a sci-fi Souls-like, says the Elden Ring director Hidetaka Miyazaki. It's gonna be a third-person focused game. It's gonna be focused on single player. Boss battles are the highlights, of course. Versus and multiplayer mode are planned. That's according to Wario64. We'll go to you, Deo. Have you been a fan of the Armored Core series for a while? There's a lot of them.
Oh yeah, since 2.
Yeah.
And I have an original and I have the original like PlayStation 1 Armored Core that I won off an auction from Goodwill, like I think for like a year ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm super excited because I love building those mechs and I love mech driving and all this other stuff. What's weird to me is that this is a quote from Miyazaki talking about it. Is he the director on this, or did he just take over Namco Bandai now?
He might be like what's that guy at DC or Marvel or whatever, or the Feige or
James Gunn?
There's James Gunn and there's the other guy right on Marvel. He might be
Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige.
So I feel
whatever.
So I feel like he might be that. He might be in charge of the whole universe now, all the Marvel-related universe type of thing. So, but it's funny, right? Because everyone's like, it's gonna be a Souls-like, and he's like, no, it's not, man.
It better not be.
We're gonna do something good for you. We're gonna do something. But I feel like maybe that's the natural assumption, right? It's like it's gonna be Souls-like, and
and I mean, people who are familiar with the series are intimately familiar with how difficult those games can be. And so I think maybe that's where some people might have gotten that impression, because that game can be hard as hell.
Yeah.
No, not with the mechs that they be making. There's no way that they could make that beloved series, is beloved by many people, and suddenly switch it to a Souls-like game, because it's already hard enough. It is already hard enough. You don't have to do. I know you talked about how you like building your mech, but you have to build them very specifically in order to beat those games. Because the last, I played like Raven's Nest or whatever the heck that one was called. That was like the last one I played. But I've been playing Armored Core since Armored Core 1. And then I played all the way up to Silent Line. And that's when I came up with the term. And I know Jeremy has heard this term before, where I went through a level and all this stuff started happening. Like every time I went to the level, I got a little bit further. Then more stuff started happening. Got a little bit further. More stuff started happening. And at some point, you run out of fuel. Your gears start breaking down. You run out of ammunition. And at some point, I was just like, you know what? This is some Armored Core bullshit. And ever since then, it has just become a term that I use for things that are way too hard.
Reasonable. So what do you think about this one,
Dalan? Bullshit. Love it.
So how do you feel about this one, Dalan? Are you looking forward to it, or no? Or you don't want to deal with Armored Core?
No, bullshit? I'm very much looking forward to it, because as frustrating as that Armored Core bullshit was for Silent Line, I very much love the series. And I'm more than happy to go back to it. It's basically like, it's like playing Metal Gear. It's build your own Gundam. All right, you can just go in, fight against people, try and take them out.
So we don't have a date for it, but you guys are hyped. You guys are hyped on
here.
I'm very hyped for based that. On the couple things. Based on the couple.
If they come out with like a controller like what they had for Steel Battalion back on like the Xbox One, holy crap!
Yeah.
You know, with the eject button and the two joysticks.
It'll take up your whole desk. It'll take up the whole desk that I think you're ordering, right, Dale? Did we convince you to order the standing?
Oh no, I'm still shopping. I'm shopping the
EZO
desk. Yeah.
You don't trust us. That's
no, I'm shopping that brand. I'm shopping that brand.
Okay. Carlos, one thing you got to understand, apparently, is that you brought up a specific game for the right audience. Like we like some Armored Core. You're
look,
probably the only one here.
I was gonna say,
played it.
I was gonna say, based on the little details I'm hearing from you guys, fuck no, I ain't playing no Armored Core, man. That is not. I will not be involved. I will not be involved on no Armored Core.
It is an exercise in frustration.
Hell no.
Yeah, it is.
Hell no, I will not be partaking in no Armored Core anytime soon.
Carlos is waiting for this topic to be over.
What? I'll give you guys a chance. What I am hyped about though is Idris Elba as Solomon Reed in Cyberpunk 2077's Phantom Liberty expansion. That thing looks amazing, man. It was already looking nice with, of course, Keanu Reeves coming back and doing the role again. But Idris Elba, you throw him into some shit, I'm down, dude. I'm too hyped. I know. Look, it's me and you. I feel, Dale. It's just me and you on this podcast looking forward to this expansion. But how do you feel, Idris Elba, or anything else that you saw? How you feeling about it?
Dude, I love me some Idris Elba, and I don't understand how they were able to get him, because I thought that, this is the only DLC coming out for Cyberpunk 2077, because I know they readjusted their plans after the game like initially flopped and everything like that. So it's crazy to me that they have the budget to get someone like him.
Yeah.
This is funny that this is the second time he's come up in video games in the last 12 months, because he's also, I don't know if you guys don't play Gran Turismo, but in Gran Turismo 7 there's a rap track with Idris rapping on it.
Okay.
As like a music song. It's so weird. I was like, what the hell?
He's on the soundtrack to, what is that? Not Calvin and Hobbes. What's the little offshoot of Fast and Furious or whatever? He's on that soundtrack. He raps on that too, man. So he's
what?
Yeah, he's definitely on that. He's doing his thing. He's been rapping around, but look, we're hyped, man. Look, I like I've said before on Wax, I liked it when it originally came out. Buggy as hell and all that. I liked it originally, so I'm looking forward to this, man. It just, and now you're talking about Idris Elba's gonna be around. I'm even more hyped. The next thing, this one was a little surprising, kind of GTA but not GTA, is a new game called Crime Boss Rockay City. It's gonna be a co-op first-person shooter set in 90s Florida. I'm pretty sure they're trying to beat GTA 6 at this point, right? Which GTA 6 is like years away, man. But this is gonna come out, I thought I had the date on here, but I think it's coming out next year sometime. It's gonna be featuring Michael Madsen, Kim Basinger, Danny Glover, Michael Rooker, Danny Trejo, Damian Poitier, Vanilla Ice, and Chuck Norris, of course. Dalan, you're the only one that put yes on this, so what are you hyped about? What makes you hyped about this Crime Boss game?
Hey, it's honestly the cast that makes me hyped for it. Yeah. I am ready to see this go down.
It does sound like it's gonna be a train wreck, if nothing else. Not a train wreck in the sense that it'll be bad, but in the sense that you're not gonna be able to look away because it's just gonna be that big of a shit show.
Yeah. Hey man, I hope they lead into the wackiness, because they picked up Danny Trejo for this thing, and Rooker, I can't remember his first name again, but and Vanilla Ice, because he likes to do stupid stuff nowadays. It's just I'm ready for the wackiness of it. That's
it sounds to me more like first person Saints Row vibes than GTA, but we'll see.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer, I don't think you're that far off, Jeremy. I don't think you're that far off, dude. But look,
if you played Blue State, I'd go with Blue State.
dude, as the last Saints Row rebooted, though, even Saints Row can't do Saints Row, so we'll see. We'll see, man. I'm not trying.
Saints Row can't.
And I'm not even trying to say like Saints Row's like some super high bar, right? But it's particular. It's a particular type of game. Did you say what you were gonna say, Dan? Just the cast has kind of got you hyped for this?
Yeah, the cast is what's got me hyped for it. So I do have another thing I want to add, but I'll add it later.
All right. Crash Team Rumble is coming in 2023. Kind of Crash Bandicoot came from up in the ceiling, from the rafters, and came down and announced that. There's people that have been waiting for kind of like that Crash Team Racing sequel, right? So they're finally getting it. The last time we saw it was on PlayStation 1, I believe. Or did they make another one for like PS2, PS3 or something? No, right? I think it was just...
I don't think so.
Right.
The answer is I don't follow Crash Team Racing because I think it's a terrible game.
Oh damn, Dalan. Okay, Mario Kart snob. Okay, I see. but then when you want to get on Rainbow Road, you get
racing. All right, maybe Diddy Kong Racing.
Diddy Kong.
Diddy Kong. For the longest time, I did think Diddy Kong Racing was superior, and I don't know if I've necessarily. No, I've learned the error of my ways. Yeah. Mario Kart's definitely better. But as a child, I didn't know any better. I like the rockets. I was like, what's more cooler than rockets?
Dude, freaking Diddy Kong was influential as hell. It had 2 mascots and 2 games that come out as a spin-off from that game, and that was Banjo-Kazooie and that was Conquer Tales. They never had games until until Diddy Kong came out.
And those were some wild spin-offs too.
Dude.
Conquer, out of all things.
Conquer's bad for a day. Is that what you're talking about?
Conquer's bad for a day. Where you are throwing toilet paper at a poo monster at one point, right? Also, my favorite phrase from any video game is probably in that, where he goes like, "I'm gonna go wander aimlessly." I'm like, okay, poo monster. Okay, Pooh Monster's gonna wander around aimlessly. But Crash Team Rumble in 2023. Some people are excited for it, I'm sure. Last thing
I'll say on that real quick is if anybody was gonna come down from the rafter, there should have been Sly Cooper. That's it. I'm done.
Ooh.
Sly Cooper.
Damn, that would have been sick.
SlyCooper.com.
I'm ready for a new one.
The next thing we have on here is Transformers Reactivate. It's going to be a 1 to 4 player co-op action game from Splash Damage. They're going to have a closed beta in 2023. I was wondering, I've heard the name Splash Damage, and for the most part, I know they worked on Gears Tactics, and they've done a lot of multiplayer modes on Gears and I think they worked on like the Halo Master Chief port or something like that. So they've been around. I think this is going to be probably like their first game that is like, here we are, we're presenting a video game. Well, besides Gears Tactics, of course. But what do you make of this, Dale? What do you think about this Transformers Reactivate?
Okay, to be completely honest, I didn't watch the trailer to this. I just saw Transformers, and I got super giddy and excited.
All right, there you go. That's all you need.
It's basically Universal Studios gave these people money and said, make a game based on our ride. And that's...
Okay, so that might
you got to dampen his hype, Dalan.
Expectations. Yeah,
it's a VR Transformers game.
Is it VR?
Yes.
Is that what it?
Okay, never mind.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I watched the trailer. It's a VR Transformers game.
Interesting.
I thought it was gonna be like the High Moon Studios games, where like it was like Transformers. What was it called?
Devastation.
Those were good, man. Third person.
No. Right? It was like the third person games. Like a War for Cybertron.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was one that.
Those were amazing.
Those were good, and I will say, take what Dalan's saying with a grain of salt. I saw the trailer, and I don't remember them saying VR. Potentially, yes, you could be right, Dalan, but don't lose hope yet, Dale.
Be trite.
Don't lose hope. You can be You can be right, Dale. Don't lose hope though. Investigate.
Sony pony.
But
can't imagine being third person in VR, but it's possible.
What do you think, Dale? Before we move on from this, so that's kind of
a lot of first person for it. That's what it was.
I mean, that's all I really wanted to say. After the Transformers, that Beast Wars trailer came out for like the new action film coming out, I got super excited about that, because if we get a Beast Wars arc in the live action Transformers series, holy god, I'm there day one. Doesn't matter.
Especially,
I brought that up at some point a couple of years back.
Did you?
I might actually watch those movies, unlike the other Transformers movies.
Okay. So here's the thing. So one of my friends, he lives down in LA. He's the largest like Transformers nerd that I know. And I texted him like the morning of that trailer dropped, and I was like, I'm coming to you, and we're gonna watch this in theaters if you guys are down, because you're all down there.
Sure.
Let's go. I'll go down to you guys.
There you go. We'll figure it out. The next thing we have on here, Horizon Forbidden West, a Burning Shores expansion, drops April 19th. Looks pretty good. Looks like more Horizon. Horizon, by the way, I don't think won any awards, man. Like that's a little weird. Maybe it was earlier in the year.
Not this one. Forbidden West didn't.
Yeah, this was it. Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel, right?
Yeah, I'm just saying the first one won awards.
Yeah, but this one maybe they were like, all right, fine, whatever, it's pretty. The water looks nice, but the expansion drops April 19th. Well, what about you, Dalan? What do you think? Are you kind of hyped for the expansion?
There was a thing I was seeing for it. I wasn't sure if it was two different trailers or one trailer, but I know that it said VR for this one as well, and I was a little confused about it.
Okay.
So are those two separate games?
Yes.
Is that another expansion?
They're two separate games. One's called Call of the Mountain, and that's the VR one.
See,
and then this one is DLC for the existing game.
There you go.
And
only for PlayStation 5 apparently. That's what I heard.
By the way,
straight up said exclusive
Nice little
PS5.
wrinkle.
By the
Yeah,
way,
even though the game released both on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5,
They're moving away from it.
Oh,
Finally.
yeah, that's right. Because of what they're doing with it, they wanted to push the envelope a little bit.
there you go.
Carlos, shut up. We're talking.
By the way, Jeremy, since we haven't had you on here, you were the. I like it, Dalan. I like it. But by the way, I wasn't even interrupting you. It's been a while. I was like, let them speak. I was giving you guys the speak opportunity. But before we forget, I know Jeremy's been like the VR aficionado, I believe, the last time he was here. Are you grabbing PSVR 2, Jeremy? Did you put a pre-order?
More than likely, yeah, when that drops. Just depends on financial situation. But if I'm able to, yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah.
Based on what we've seen and what we know about it, it's, a huge upgrade from the current generation of what's available.
I thought you were enjoying your Oculus or whatever the heck you got.
Hey, man.
You got
Yeah, it is. But the PSVR 2 is going to be nice.
It's gotta be
Like,
nice.
It's gonna be
there's,
nice.
there's a lot of different ways I could explain, because there's a lot of technical bullshit, but it's just going to be really, really nice.
Oh,
is all
dude,
I can say.
I put my pre-order for the one with Horizon or whatever, that pack, the $600 pack. I'm like, all right, it's gonna be painful when it comes
All
to
right.
me, but I'll do it that way. Yeah, Jeremy, how you feeling about the price, dude? The price is
Let me hit you
up
with
there.
this price tag
How you
right
feel
now.
about the price, dude?
Well, again, if you understand what's in it compared to what's currently on the market for VR headsets, it's like leaps and bounds better than what's available right now. And you can't compare. It's like apples and oranges. You can't compare Oculus's prices right now with these, because even Oculus went up $100,
Yeah.
and they're still losing a good chunk of money on that headset.
Yeah.
So for the PSVR 2 to have what it's going to have in it, it's perfectly reasonable, because there are headsets out there that are, 1,000 plus that are only marginally better than what PSVR 2 is going to be offering, and still worse in some ways.
Yeah, and the Quest even came out with like a pro version, right? You saw that one, like 1,200 or 1,300, like some ridiculous price, like $1,500 or something like that.
Yeah, and as far as gaming is concerned, it's only a marginal difference in terms of what it does that the base Oculus Quest 2 model does. It's primarily for other use cases, and the things that it adds are kind of like there's things that they could do with it going forward, but that's stuff that the PSVR 2 is going to be doing from day one.
Yeah. And it ultimately, like for me, comes down to the library, and as what we saw with PlayStation VR. One, I'll play it for 3 weeks, and then where the fuck did the library go?
Let it collect dust.
Where did the library go? So we'll see, but I'm a sucker for this stuff, so put in that little pre-order. The next thing
I'm sure there'll be another Moss
just
for
a
you.
Buster. You're just a buster.
Well, there's a Moss 2, 1 and 2. I like that Moss 1 and 2.
Yeah, those are both out now.
Yeah, and they're like, we're gonna throw it together, and you can't free upgrade or have an upgrade path. It's like, nah, we're gonna sell it to you again for PSVR 2 because it's not backwards compatible. So that's fun. The next thing that's fun though is Diablo 4 is coming June 6th. We finally have a date. Jeremy, are you super hyped for this, for the clickety click game?
Yeah, I am big time. Like, I wanted to really like Diablo 3, but I tried it like 3 or 4 different times. I just couldn't get into it. The way that the progression system worked and the way that you unlock skills and stuff like that, it just wasn't nearly as satisfying as the old school Diablo 2 situation. So the fact that they're kind of getting back to their roots with this game, and then taking that to the next level is really got me excited for it. So, I'll definitely be checking that out when it drops. How you feeling
about June 6th? Is it sooner than you expected, or is like, fuck, it's been on development for a while now. This thing needs to drop.
It's about what I expected, honestly. Like, they announced it. When did they officially announce it? I want to say it was like the end of last year or something like that, right? So, that's, we'll call it almost 2 years, about a year and a half.
Yeah. That's
reasonable. Like, I would expect that kind of a timeline, especially considering that they were probably developing this in the midst of all the COVID BS and whatnot. So,
And I think the journalists are fun. Look, I like journalists. I like them revealing things. I do like it, but already they're like June 6th, huh? And they're overworking these motherfuckers like slaves out here. Like it's like that's kind of like the journalist stuff that's going around. So hopefully all that's kind of tidied up and it comes out at June whatever. And if they have to kind of delay it a little bit because they want to give people like some breathing room, we'll see. But June seems about right? That's a few months out. And it's co-op. I've always been kind of interested. I kind of dipped into 4 a little bit. Maybe 5. Maybe 5 is the game changer. Maybe that's when I get into it a bit more. The next thing we have on here is the Tekken. We got another Tekken 8 trailer. As a side note as well, the series, Tekken 7 has reached 10 million copies sold worldwide. That's according to Eurogamer. Dalan, you are allowed to speak. So what do you think? What do you think about what you saw from Tekken 8? Please.
Hey, they all right. So my issue with Tekken 7 is that it's so old that I'm over here playing it on PS4 and PS5, and I noticed that Vaseline and the pixelation for the characters and how they were recycling like 2D objects to actually show some of the stuff. Like, yeah, they definitely need to either come out with a new game or remaster this one of the two. So I'm glad that they've actually been working on Tekken 8, but obviously there's that whole meme of Law right now of him with all his bulging muscles. They really were working on them muscles.
He's been working out, man. Leave him alone. He's been working on himself. All right, he's been working on himself.
He's been working a little too hard.
They were calling him Steroid Law.
He was out there working out with Marcus Phoenix. All right.
There you go. Dale
He's on that Liver King diet.
Oh my god.
Dale, what do you think, man? What do you think about what you saw?
Yeah, no, I'm excited about Tekken. Like Dalen's completely 100% correct. Like that shit is old hat. They need a new hat, and I'm glad that this hat looks phenomenal. Although there is some discrepancy on from the reveal trailer that came out when it's Jin versus Kazuya. Like that trailer had more detail in it, whereas this one wasn't, and you could tell that it was definitely running their current engine or whatever iteration that they have going on. I'm not too sure what the engine they're calling it this time around, because when you're watching the trailer, there's like screen tearing. So you definitely could tell like they either recorded it directly from a source or they have it directly from the game itself. So
or that was on purpose.
Maybe I'm not too sure. It was kind of weird.
You would do it on purpose to show screen tearing? You would on purpose?
No, I don't think so.
No, not
they slapped it together like really
filterings. All right.
Yeah. So, but I think, but there was a downgrade that a lot of other viewers noticed too, and I was like, I don't care, like as long as the gameplay is amazing. And from what they were showing, they're definitely changing it up a little bit more. It's definitely going to be a more rush down type of game where you're not going to be having a lot of like a footsies kind of situation and more defensive tactics. So that's totally going to mess up with the balance for a lot of characters and how the game flows. Yeah, something like that. I'm not too sure. Maybe like Mortal Kombat X instead of 11. So they're definitely hyping it up. Not only that, they're including like environmental destruction. So the other game, Tekken 7 did have that where you could like knock people against walls and then like the walls would fall over, or you knock people down into different levels.
And stuff like
yeah,
that.
They have that, but like in the trailer that I saw or the demo that I saw, there was like these metal canisters, which definitely look like exploding barrels or whatever like that.
And they can explode.
And they can explode like how Dead or Alive does it. So
you mean like when you get hit by a car? Is that what you're talking about?
No, not that far. I don't think. I hope that's not like that. That's totally like a random situation.
Dead or Alive, and a tiger will run through the screen and hit you, and you're like, why?
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, if that was in Tekken, I was like, I remember Dead or Alive getting run over by random objects.
Dude, Itagaki was just like going crazy. He was just like, you know what? Takes his glasses off. A tiger.
How about this stage? Get hit by a car.
This
stage, throw a boulder through there. Yeah.
Let's have Indiana Jones happen. Come on.
So
right now.
Tekken,
Yeah.
Tekken 8, you guys are hyped. Tekken 8 is gonna be around soon enough.
It's time. It's time.
No
it's time
release
for
date, right? No release date, I guess, right? Did they say
No,
even
there's
say
no
next
release
year?
date yet. Coming soon.
I would say if I was a betting man, you could put this on wax.
Ooh, it is. Oh, it's fully on wax right now.
Hey man, you bet last time and you lost that bet, so let's
I know.
try again, Dan.
I'm trying the law of averages. I'm gonna bet as many times as possible. Eventually, one will be right. I'm gonna say it launches in November, either August or November of 2023.
Yeah, because Street Fighter is June, right? Do you think they're not gonna want to cannibalize each other's sales, right? I'm assuming they want to avoid that little mini blast radius.
Street Fighter. Hey,
No.
Tekken is not worried about Street Fighter. Street Fighter is not worried
Exactly.
about Tekken.
Oh, there you go.
Exactly.
But still,
100%.
Two very
fighting
different
games, right?
audiences.
They're
but
different.
yeah.
They're different, but still.
I think Street Fighter will hit just before Evo happens, so because that's going to be like their marquee game, and then Tekken will just demo it out on the floor.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, if for any reason another Smash Brothers drops, everybody's avoiding that.
That's the blast radius.
That's the blast radius.
That's the
That's
new
the
blast
blast
radius right there. For everything. Not just fighters, for everything.
Everything.
Dude, that shit. Ooh, it's rough out there. Next thing we have on here, Death Stranding 2 get announced, and that thing was trippy. But it looks beautiful. It only really kind of reinforced to me that I'm like, damn, I still haven't played Death Stranding 1. So whenever this thing gets
for you better play it.
I'm gonna play it. I will play it, Dalan. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I did like it. I actually did play quite a bit of it.
I know you liked it because what you did is you played it for 6 hours and said, let me return it. And then for like a month straight, you were just like, oh man, I shouldn't have sent back Death Stranding. I want Death Stranding.
That is what, yeah. That was one of the few games. I think I was trying to get whatever was next on GameFly or whatever, right? So I was sending it back or whatever. Actually, no, I think it might have been a GameStop quote, love it or return it. I was like, oh, I will return it. There will be no love. And I think I played it for like a full Saturday, and then I was like, give me my money back, please. And I regret, and I wanted it back. I wanted it back.
Missed it.
I missed it. So Death Stranding 2 looks trippy as hell, as per usual. So I'm hyped. Once they have a release date, I will have a deadline to beat one. The next thing on here is that there is a Forspoken demo. That game's coming out in a couple months, I think. Now I think I got it on my GameFly.
Yeah, I think it's January. It's late January.
Yeah, so Forspoken demo is out. Jeremy, you put yes on here. Did you potentially play the demo by chance? So.
No, I was just gonna say that I'm really looking forward to it, and I need to play the demo.
Okay.
I was hoping that somebody else had, and would chime in if they had. I was gonna put that question to the group,
Dalan.
whether they wanted to talk about it or not.
This needs to be spoken about, this Forspokening. Dalan, did you play the demo?
No, because we ain't got time for that. We
really
got backlogs. You gotta
That's where I'm at right now. That's why I haven't. But I fully intend on it.
There you go.
I know that if I install it, by the time I get around to it, the actual game's gonna be out. So I'm just gonna wait.
All right, there you go. So demo's out. No one wants to play it apparently.
Everybody wants to play it, but you're talking about you're dropping the demo right after God of War.
It is a rough time. It is a rough time.
Yeah, a lot of stuff this season.
That's a little weird, right? You would think they might have dropped it in January, somewhere in there where there's not a lot of stuff going on. It's like, play this.
Drop it like 2 weeks before the game's gonna come out, so people could try it and decide.
It's definitely an interesting time. I think maybe they thought there was gonna be a splash because we're at the Game Awards, but it's like, so you're gonna get lost. The other thing, of course, was Star Wars Jedi Survivor. We gained a release date for that, March 17th. So that's my deadline to play the first game. March 17th, that's coming out. Jeremy,
wait, you haven't beat it yet? I thought you beat that game.
Dude, that game got Souls-like-ish, and I was like,
oh, it does. It is like immediately.
I don't feel the Souls-like. It is. Learn how to counter. That's it.
Well, I'll go back. I'll try again.
Dalan, it works exactly the same way as Dark Souls does. You die, you go back to the beginning.
You're rolling everywhere. You get hit, you lose everything, and then, well, I guess you
lose everything. You got to go back and pick it up. It's the same mechanic.
That's the only thing that's the same. If that's the case, then Tibia is Souls-like.
That's Souls-like. Well, yeah, that could be Souls-like too, Dalan.
Well,
I don't understand.
It predates Souls, so I don't know how, but.
But anyways, yes, I think that's actually what was happening. I was like, what the fuck? No, I gotta go get my shit. Like, it happened a couple times. Like, I gotta get out of this game. But
it's so sad.
I will give it another
so
shot.
good.
I know.
That's.
I liked it.
I never finished it for the same reason. I have a hard time with roguelikes and Souls-likes. But yeah, I really wanted to, and I'm still looking forward to it. I might eventually, as a result of this, go back and play the first one on like easy mode or something.
Play it on normal because it's more like having a Metroid but Star Wars edition.
Oh, that's the part I love. That's what kept me around that long as I did, Dalan. But then I kept losing my shit.
That's exactly what the game is.
Yeah,
it
but
is
Metroid,
but
Metroid, you didn't lose all your shit.
No, Metroid doesn't
you
punish
died.
you like that.
Yeah, not like that.
What are you talking about? This is not that type of punishment.
It's punishing, dude. But anyways, March 17th, I'm going back to it. Jeremy potentially is going back to it. And the March 17th, the sequel drops. Dalan, do you have anything else to say that's productive? Talking about it's not a Souls like when it is, but anything else besides that, Dalan, please.
If you're gonna go back and replay it as the HD remake or whatever it was, the re-release. Because when I played it, I got to a planet and the graphics were not loading, and I literally mean the graphics were not loading.
By the way, Jeremy, that's the running joke for Dalan because he's like, they didn't put the graphics. He's like, it has graphics. They weren't up to par to what you wanted. So he says they didn't put the graphics in. When they did, they for sure did. It just wasn't good enough.
There's just no art assets. It's just not there.
It's just not there.
It's a blank screen.
Yeah, but they really fixed it with the remaster. Or at least everybody tells me that it got fixed. I was too busy beating it on its original original
format
edition. Yeah, and it was an excellent game all the way through. You could call it Souls-like if you want, but it's like Souls-like on easy mode.
Now we can call it a Souls-like, huh, Dalan? Thank you for your permission because you're saying it wasn't.
I said if you want to call it that, feel free. But I'm still leaning more towards Metroid Star Wars.
Yeah,
right?
The fun part was the Metroid part, for sure. But then they were like, let's sprinkle some Souls-like into it. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Let's sprinkle some challenge.
The next thing on here, Suicide Squad drops May 26th. We finally got a date. Kevin Conroy is voicing Batman, so that was kind of a surprising thing. How'd you feel about that, Dalan? You kind of like the voicing or the date, or what did you like about kind of the Suicide Squad latest trailer we got?
Hey, I like the fact that Batman is in the game.
There you go.
That's it. The fact that Batman is in the game, that means it's going to be a better game than Gotham Knights.
Well, Gotham Knights forever, right? They were like, don't buy this game because Batman's not in it. I mean, Batman's not in it. Stop asking us. It's not in it.
That was from the get-go. We told you he's not in it. We even have a 5 comic book arc of him not being in it.
Well, had he been like ambiguous, I'm pretty sure people were like, damn, maybe Batman's in here. But nope, they had to tell us. They had to tell us not in here. The next thing we have on here, Bayonetta Origins drops March 17th for Switch. I know Steven Totilo said it looks like Okami. It kind of does, but Okami looked a little nicer than that, right? But Bayonetta Origins is kind of nice if you guys want some of that background, which I might be interested. I did see the pricing on it though. It's like $60. I'm like, it's a little rough. What doesn't look...
Maybe it's gonna be an extensive game. Maybe it'll have 200 hours of OST that you might enjoy, or 12 hours.
It might, though, like Xenoblade Chronicles. Next thing we have on here, we finally got something from Ken Levine. It's called Judas. If you guys saw the trailer, straight up BioShock, man. It's a straight up BioShock game.
It's straight BioShock.
Yeah, the developer, of course.
Yeah,
the developer is Ghost Story Games. That thing looks incredible. Basically, we just got a first glimpse. We didn't know this existed. He just kind of revealed this at the Game Awards. I'm already on Blackout.
Yeah, just give it to me. I'm there day one, dude.
For sure.
Like,
I can't. We all are at this point.
I'm really surprised that they didn't go the BioShock route. Like, maybe they couldn't for legal reasons or something.
Yeah.
Or because Infinite kind of.
Well, I mean, 2K probably owns.
Infinite was great.
Yeah,
How? Like, Infinite was amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of people said Infinite was the worst installment out of the series.
No, BioShock 2 was the worst installment of the series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy.
hey, I third that. By the way. But what's funny though is BioShock 2 is the worst of the main entries, but Minerva's Den is like the best DLC little component of all of them, because Minerva's Den was fucking nice.
Yeah.
Man. Minerva's Den was a nice little DLC. Oh, you gotta go back.
I haven't played it.
Get your Steam Deck out. Get your Steam Deck out and play
it.
it.
Pick up the collections. They have the BioShock collection.
No, I have it on Xbox One. I have it.
Point.
Yeah, I got it.
Mess with
I'll get around to it.
So Jeremy, you're hyped. Anything else on that?
Oh yeah, day one.
Dalan, hyped about Judas.
Hyped. All of us are hyped. If you hadn't noticed by our reactions, we are hyped.
I'm ready, man. My body is definitely ready.
If anybody, I'm just gonna put this on audio. If anybody out there has not played BioShock, I highly recommend you go back and play BioShock.
Definitely.
I don't care how old you think the game is. It is a good game.
Go back and play.
No, they still hold up, dude. They still hold up.
There you go. BioShock is one of those up there. Of course, my GOAT is Metroid Prime, but BioShock is up there, and Last of Us. Of course, the Last of Us games are very much up there. Then we did get another announcement. Hades 2 is announced from Kotaku, announced from a studio that doesn't make sequels, and I think that probably is their first sequel. Hades 2. The original was pretty nice. It's probably like the furthest I've gotten into a kind of roguelike type of game, which I was like, it's incredible. It just reminds me of Bastion. I think I've put it on Wax before, but Bastion is definitely one of my best favorite games. I don't know if it's up there as best game, but it's nice. The audio experience is beautiful. It gets you right from the beginning where you're smashing pots around, and it's like, oh, and the kid raged for a while. Like I did. I'm raging. By the way, that's my favorite thing. Just a quick side note, and then we'll go to your guys' thoughts on Hades 2. My daughter watches me play like God of War. And what do I do? I'm smashing pots, and I like how she was like looking at the game while I'm playing, and she's like, "What? Why?" Like disappointed. I was like, "Why are you just smashing crap?" I'm like, "Let me smash pots." All right.
Why not?
Why not?
Gotta understand, we might find rupees.
But I'd like to think she plays games like she plays The Sims. She gets way into The Sims. She's playing at an elevated level above where I'm at. I just want to smash pots around here. That's all I want to do. Hades 2.
She's playing sophisticated things.
There you go. She's playing very sophisticated games out there. Jeremy, what's your thoughts, man? Hades 2 is coming out. We're getting it.
Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty excited about it. Again, this is one of those games that may get me to go back and play the first one, or finish it, I should say. Like I played the first one, and the thing about it that kept me playing it was that there was this, continuous narrative that kind of plays out in between your runs of the game. And that's the thing for me with roguelikes is, a lot of the difficulty levels just ramped up to 11. And it just gets ridiculous. Hades was like that. Like it gets a little bullet helly at sometimes. You can die and it feels kind of like BS. But having that narrative that occurs in between runs made it that much more interesting because I was invested in the characters. I wanted to see how that all ended up playing out. That said, it still wasn't enough to get me to finish it. But it was. I definitely respect it. Like the art style was amazing, the sound was really good, the voice acting and the characters were extremely well written.
Yeah.
So the combination of having a narrative and having very well written characters is what got me invested in it for as long as I was.
Yeah, because I think it's one of those things that unfortunately at the end of the day it's still a roguelike. Right, but it does it in such a smooth way, like you were mentioning, the progression, the dialogue that you get every time. It's very fresh. At some point, I think this was one that I just got distracted. I think other games came out. It wasn't because usually roguelikes they just wear thin for me, right? I'm like, I'm done with this. I understand, but this one felt, had a nice little situation going on with Hades 1 as far as the stories and the progression, like you were mentioning. So Hades 2, maybe I do give myself a deadline to beat the first one, like my first roguelike I ever beat. Deo, what do you make of this, man? Hades 2 coming out.
Hades nuts.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. No.
The Trulies are hitting. The Trulies are hitting.
Yeah, I finished it. I gotta go round 2. No.
Fresh off the driveway day.
Off the driveway Dale's bag, bro. No. What Carlos and Jeremy were saying are like exactly my sentiments and thoughts on it. We love the game, but we just can't get to that point where we finish it. I loved it. I think I put like 12 hours into it, and I was like, I'm so close to beating up Hades,
and
dude.
then you're not.
And then like something happens, and then I was like, shoot. But I'll come back to you because I know how to get through the entire game like really fast now, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like Jeremy was saying, like it's a beautiful game. The graphics are amazing. The character design is amazing. The writing is impeccable. And I wish I want to get back to it. I really do. I bought the physical copy for like $10 at Best Buy finally.
Yeah,
so,
and it's on. I think I think I might have it on Switch because if it's on other consoles, I know it was on Switch for sure.
It was on
and
Switch
I have
first.
Maybe if I catch it somewhere, I might do that.
There you go.
Yeah.
And it plays well enough. Dude, the Switch can barely run itself, right? But it
plays that game beautifully though.
It plays Hades pretty well. Dalan, what do you think, man? Before we get on to the next topic here.
I think that game was just an excellent, fun time. Just quite honestly, the little story in between it with all the characters. Obviously, Jeremy said pretty much everything that could really be said about this game, but just the whole lore aspect to it and just the way that they actually get you involved with the characters and the fighting, it's just so much fun. I would go back to it if I didn't have a backlog, and Hades is one of those backlogs. And I'll admit, I have a couple of friends that kind of almost turned me off to the game because they're like, Dalan, you haven't beat that game yet? I'm like, what do you mean I haven't beaten that game yet? He was like, yeah, I beat that game in 4 hours. I was like, well, screw you. I don't play games that hard.
Well, that's cool. So that's fun, Dalan. Hey, but Hades 2, I feel like we all will have a deadline when Hades 2 finally gets a release date, right? Which I would think it's soon. I would think 2023. The next thing, of course, this is actually the other roguelike that I almost it had me almost really go far into it before I played Hades, was Dead Cells, the original. But Dead Cells will be getting a new DLC in Q1 of 2023. It's going to be Castlevania DLC. So I don't know if you guys saw some of the clips. I didn't put it on the rundown for you guys to see, but it looked kind of cool. Dalan, you got a chance to look at it?
Video.
You got a chance to kind of... What do you think?
I saw the trailer video. I didn't see any actual gameplay of it.
Mm-hmm.
So the only curiosity that I have for it is, will I be able to play as Alucard and Richter? I know I'm going to be playing alongside them at some point, or at least they'll be showing up within the story, but this may actually be the thing that gets me to go back to that game, because I almost beat that game, and then out of the blue, I don't remember what happened. I just put it down.
You found out it was a roguelike, Dalan, and you were fucking losing your loot, and you have to go get your loot every single time you die.
Wait a minute, this is a roguelike.
Exactly, Dalan. Exactly.
I feel like there's something wrong with this game. Why do I keep going back to the beginning?
All of a sudden.
No, I thoroughly enjoyed that game, and I was, for a while there, I was going hard in the Dead Cells paint.
It's nice. It's super smooth, man. Super smooth.
Especially since they like to give out these DLCs for free. Yeah, I'll keep coming back if you keep putting in good DLCs. And Castlevania, that is my game. I love Castlevania, so that's definitely Dalan is coming.
Well, Dalan, definitely. I doubt it's gonna be free, dude. When they're licensing Castlevania and all this.
I mean, that's
stuff.
Fair.
But hey, man, that game was
Konami
super
messed up though. I don't know.
That was a super smooth game, man. Dead Cells, it's a super smooth game. I don't know if I go back to it even for Castlevania. I guess I'm just not that big of a fan of Castlevania. It's great. I like it. I've played them, but not that big of a fan. Street Fighter 6 drops June 2nd. We did talk about it a little bit more, but is there anything else you kind of wanted to add, Deo, as far as Street Fighter 6?
Just one thing. The trailer that came out looked really good. The French fighter who's supposed to be replacing Abel in this type of game, she looks amazing. From a character design, I'm gonna talk about it. I'm gonna talk about it. This is gonna get the hits right now.
This is gonna get us the hits we got last week. All right, this is it right here.
She's a looker. If that's what you wanted, I'll be reserved about it. She looks really nice. Her booty's really really nice.
Okay, damn. Okay, truly.
I don't think that's where you were going with it though.
Truly.
It's the truly, bro. The truly. No. I think her name is I'm terrible. I've never taken French, but I think her name is Manon. I'm not too sure. But she's a very interesting character. She's she's a model / fighter for some reason. But the way she plays is that she's like a grappler kind of type, and she has these moves where if she throws out a punch, she throws out a secondary punch, and it pulls the enemy in, so then you can grapple and do head games that way. I'm not too sure how that works.
I'm looking at some of these images, Deo, and it's interesting. It's very interesting.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
No. She's got a fucked up haircut, but she looks amazing. Everything else around.
Everything else considered.
Yeah.
But
Hey,
what
be
about the
careful.
game, Dale? What
34 is
about
out
the
there.
game? All right,
What game? I don't care. It's just my own game. That's all I know about it.
Street
The
Fighter.
only person you need.
Street Fighter Manon the game. There you go. So that's a lot of the reveals that kind of happened at the Game Awards. A couple more things, if you guys didn't notice, but Xbox really had no presence. I think it was someone on Kotaku on one of the websites. They did write up an article. It was like, "What's up with this?" I don't know. It might have been IGN. But so they did talk to Xbox about it, and they said, "quote unquote." They're gonna have a quote unquote incredibly exciting 2023, and then they said, quote, "Don't worry, you will not have to wait too long for what's next from us," end quote. They're in a battle. It might be that they're in the middle of a FTC / whatever regulation battle, but at the same time, they could have showed us something, right? Does that worry you a little bit though, Dale, that they didn't kind of show more? They really didn't show anything, right?
They didn't show anything, bro.
Yeah.
That was like kind of a slap to the face for a lot of like diehard Xbox fans. Was like there was nothing there. The fact that they hold the Game Awards inside of Microsoft Theater in LA, and
fair, man.
literally Phil Spencer's sitting there for front row, and they didn't show anything about first party, no third party, partnerships, nothing. When they had Hideo Kojima up there, and they announced earlier in E3, like, oh, we do have something in development. They didn't show shit. So it's kind of weird. And now that you've had this agreement with Bethesda for like almost 2.5 years, 3 years now, and the fact that like none of those studios have been working on anything, it's very puzzling.
They have, right? Starfield we should have had our hands on Starfield right now, right? But it's pushed out.
And they announced Elder Scrolls 6.
They did.
Yeah, so yeah.
Just all they have to do, which is genius what Nintendo does when they did like Metroid 4, is just a splash screen of like the title of the game.
How dare you,
Dale?
How dare you, Dale? How dare you bring
need.
this up? How dare you bring this up? Because Metroid
For
Prime
4 6, though, they actually had a whole thing where they zoomed in on some mountains, so they at least had something additional. But after that, we haven't heard anything.
Yeah, radio silence at the Game Awards is not a good look.
It's not a good look. It
doesn't inspire confidence.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm really worried about. I don't like. It's been 2.5 years, and a lot of like here's another word for you, Dalan. Xbots. Xbots have been defending Phil Spencer and Xbox for so long now, for 2.5 years since Bethesda was incorporated into their company. That they're losing hope. I don't know. Like I am too, because I'm like, this is your time to like just show what you got. And Sony's stepping all over you right now. And
if I think of Xbox right now, because I'm not a Gears fan, the only thing I think of that is in the pipeline that I've heard about that still hasn't been officially announced is a new Fable title. That's it.
Right.
No, that was
as a high profile kind of franchise, right?
That was announced. That actually was announced with a small little trailer. There was a small little trailer for a new Fable.
Oh, I thought it was just rumors at this point.
Yeah, but that was 2 years ago. That was
been a while.
But it was announced. That's the point.
A lot of things happened over the last 2 years, man. I'm telling you that.
No, but I do feel you on that, Dale. Right? Like if you don't have a full like gameplay review or anything like that, at least like you were saying, shows what you got. All right, here's a teaser. We're still working out. We didn't forget about you. I do not
reassurance. That's all.
I do not appreciate you bringing up that vaporware that is no Metroid Prime 4, though, man. How dare you, sir? How dare you?
I know that was gonna hurt deep. I'm so sorry. I knew that was gonna hit you deep.
It hurts my soul, man, to hear about Metroid Prime 4, especially because the latest thing we've heard is like we're reshuffling. We don't know. We don't know when it's coming out now. Metroid Prime, give it to me.
Before we move on to the next item, I just actually wanted to bring up a few things very quickly. I promise you this time. Okay. But for the trailers that I was looking at, because I was trying to catch up on the trailers that I missed because I worked too damn much. There was the game Banishers that was actually announced. It looked like a nice little like samurai ghost hunters type thing. So I was like, that looks pretty damn cool. There was Remnant 2, and I saw that trailer. I was like, why does this game look so good, and why have I not seen 1? And then I realized I had seen part 1. I was like, man, this definitely flew right past my head. And I was like, I missed that game. So I might go back and try and play Remnant 1 because it actually looks pretty good. But along the lines of you talking about games that were announced and we had freaking total radio silence for, there was a game that I brought up like a year or two ago. It was called Replaced. It was like a 2.5D game. Yeah,
Oh,
see,
yeah.
Dale knows what I'm talking
Dude,
about.
that looks
and that came up again during the awards, and I was like, okay, you finally got something for me. When is it coming out? And it still said 2022. No actual date.
Hey,
I'm
Dalan,
like,
hey,
guys,
I'm sorry.
we got 3 weeks left.
Dalan, let me break it to you, Dalan. That shit is not coming out by the end of
Nope.
2022 at all, man. Like we're almost there. We're like 2 weeks away. I'm looking at my watch. We're like 2 weeks away now. It's
Yeah,
not
no way.
happening.
all the studios all packing up for Christmas and everything, and
It's not
they're not
happening,
gonna go
dude.
back to the game.
It's not
No,
happening.
but the last game I'll bring up, because I know Jeremy probably didn't get a chance to see it, but I think you'd be interested in it. There was, I want to say Namco and Amazon got together for this one, but it's called Blue
Protocol.
Protocol.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. It's
Mhm.
basically a new Tales-like game, so I'm definitely down to play that game.
It's an MMO.
It's Tales-like MMO. I don't care. I'm down to play it.
Amazon? Really?
Mhm. Yeah, they're gonna be publishing it in the
Oh,
states.
Well,
that might be big.
Amazon has been at these things for a little while, right? I think they canceled an MMO, right? So it's kind of like
Yeah, they canceled
Yeah.
the Lord of the Rings MMO they were working on. They're currently running a few MMOs. They're running Lost Ark, which is a Korean import. And they're also doing their own game, New World, which is
Yeah,
an
New
AGS
World.
game, like from the ground up. They
The one
had
where they
another
crash on the
game.
main screen, the title screen crash.
And they fixed that.
Yeah,
They fixed that.
They had,
Fixed it.
yeah, they've had a few games that they've tried. They've tried and failed to find success with, right? So I think Amazon's just kind of throwing money at things and seeing what sticks. Because New World hasn't been that big of a success for them. Lost Ark has made them quite a bit of money though, so maybe they're surviving off of or subsisting off of that for now, right?
Look, I'll
Until
tell
something
you.
else comes
I'll
along.
tell you what they're subsisting off of, man. My Prime subscription, all right. Every year
And Prime
that thing goes.
subscription.
All right, that's
I
what
just
it
mean
is.
AGS, the game studio.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. The other thing that was
Justify your gaming studio.
the other thing that was kind of messed up, I guess, which is one of those things like people put these things out on a Friday or when people aren't paying attention. These motherfuckers said, let's put this out right before the Game Awards. IGN just laid off a bunch of staffers right before the Game Awards, so that was reasonable.
For the holidays. They did it for the holidays.
For the holidays, yeah. Like, who was it?
Just like Twitter, for the holidays.
A bunch of people have been just before the holidays. Oh, GameStop also, right? Just before the holidays. We're doing some restructuring just before the holidays. Yeah. So, Dale, what do you make of that, man? IGN was like, let's just let go of a bunch of people real quick before the Game Awards.
It's messed up, man. The IGN is the only one here, like in the Bay Area, that's been laying off people. I think the workforce in the last like 3 months, I want to say the estimate is around 250,000 jobs right now, and that's between like all the big tech giant guys. So Facebook, Google, although Google isn't as much as Facebook had it. So there's a lot of, and that it's oddly the timing is so odd because it's right before the holidays. It's very cruel that they would do it during this time. But yeah, it sucks, dude. You never know. Like honestly, even with these tech jobs, if you've been working them for a long time, you just honestly never know what will happen the next couple years.
That's it, and that's all, huh?
It's unfortunate.
Dalan, what do you think, man?
Man, all I want for Christmas is job security. People out there booing Elon Musk off of Dave Chappelle's off the stage. This world is, or at least the Americas, is going to hell. We're going to hell.
In a bread basket, Dalan? Is that the phrase?
At a hand basket.
In a hand basket.
There you go. Thank you, guys.
Going to hell.
We actually have a white man to help me with the white man phrases, not just when I default to Dalan. When I default to Dalan. Yeah, it's upsetting. It's upsetting, but hopefully these guys land on their feet. It's kind of like I know we've talked about it before, but unfortunately, it's like what do we call musical chairs on the Titanic as far as like game the industry is concerned, man. It's an unfortunate thing that. You hope for the best. You hope they can maybe they build up enough of a personality to be on I think Substack is one of them, but Patreon or whatever, where there's like, okay, I'm just doing my own thing and creating, making me some good money here. So I hope that's the case, because otherwise it's like I said, musical chairs on the Titanic right now. Unfortunately,
musical chairs on the Poseidon.
On the
Let's see how
Poseidon.
that-
There you go. I like that
Oh,
one better.
man.
I like that one better, and not the one I just took from Sacred Symbols. All right, I like that one, the Poseidon. We'll go to quick takes, just real quick. We do have Neil Druckmann, who is the Last of Us director. He said, "quote Ellie and Joel will grace the Steam Deck. Don't worry." Because, you know, the PC version of The Last of Us, it has been announced. I think it's going to come out pretty soon. Dale, are you excited? You're going to run through The Last of Us again on your Steam Deck here?
Yes. Oh my God. Like one of the greatest games ever made.
There you go.
I could, have on my handheld. Like it's great. I also personally super proud about this tweet because when Neil tweeted this out, I was the 12th person to like that tweet.
Okay.
And I was like,
Interesting.
"Oh shit, I
He
got
said I
ground
was in
floor
the
for
top
this thing."
50. Holy crap.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, "Oh dang!" And this is kind of breaking news because there's an official word on that yet. So I was super proud about that. But yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be excited? It's like one of the greatest games of all time. That you could just take with you whenever you want.
Yeah,
which is,
no, it's
I'm
pretty
glad
great.
that you are enjoying your Game Gear 2.0.
Oh, damn.
I'm digging it, bro.
It just depends on how it runs, right? We'll see.
Yeah, right.
That's the
true.
problem. If
Yeah.
it runs like shit, it's like, well,
Yeah.
it was a good idea.
If it runs like shit, then it'll remind me of when I played The Last of Us on the PlayStation 3. So I'll be like, okay, this reminds me of running 12
Was it
frames
running
per
like
second.
shit on the PS3? Oh, snaps.
Or trying to
Fair enough.
Or trying to run. I don't know if you guys ever tried, but Borderlands 2 on the Vita, that ran at like 12 frames a
Ooh.
second, dude.
Dude,
That
I
shit
heard
was
that was
super rough.
tough.
Hey man,
super
try
rough.
playing Metal Gear Solid 3 on the DS. Let's see how that
Oh,
works.
damn. Okay,
Dude, how did that happen?
But it was in 3D, Dalan. It was in 3D, right?
It
Shenanigans.
crashed the system.
Shenanigans.com. What I hope is not shenanigans is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2's first 3-player raid drops next week. They're calling it Atomgrad, I believe. Dalan,
Yeah.
are we getting down? Do you have the game? Do you have Modern Warfare 2, by the way?
No, I don't. I just
Okay.
need to get the game first.
All right. So how are you feeling about this?
But-
the little raid.
But my thing being is that I like myself a good raid when it's built properly. So Final Fantasy, what was it? Final Fantasy 14: A Realm Reborn. When you got enough people and they're not doing stupid shit the whole time, it could be a fun ass raid. Destiny. When people know what they're doing, most of the time it can be a fun ass raid. Even if they don't know what they're doing, sometimes it can be a fun ass raid.
It's rough. No,
But then
it's rough, man. When they don't know what they're doing,
It could be
it's rough.
It could still be
rough.
fun. It could be satisfying by the time you get to the end because at least it's doable. But I played the Division and did their raid. I'm like, what is happening? You're just getting shot bullets in all directions, explosions everywhere. You can't even walk into the room. There's a tank on the other
By
side.
the way, Dalan.
We had to find a way to cheese.
By the
that
way,
thing
Dan, I
as
like how
soon as
this is
possible.
your sneaky way to go on a fucking rant about 10 other games. All right, I was asking
I
about
will
Modern
immediately,
Warfare
but-
2's raid. All right,
No,
Dalan.
no, I was getting there.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm hoping that with Modern Warfare 2's raid that they actually put some nuance into it, a little bit of traveling, a little bit of story mixed into it, and having some enemies that have mechanics that you got to figure out and beat rather than just see if you can get past these enemies. I don't want to do that.
That's fair.
I
That's
don't want
fair.
to do that.
You grabbing it anytime soon, Dale, so we can get down with this raid? Or it's far
Hey
off
man,
on your radar?
backlog. How many times I gotta say it?
Hey man, I don't know. You seem hyped. You seem hyped about it. We did talk
Hey,
about this.
I'm excited to know if it's good or not.
Yeah, I'm kind of hyped. If anybody wants to play, I'm down. I haven't really touched the multiplayer aspect too much of it. The campaign was amazing. I know a lot of people hated on it. But so Moss 1 and 2, we did talk about it a little earlier. That's coming to PlayStation VR 2 February 2023. It's specific edition for PSVR 2 because apparently not backwards compatible. $27 for each of the games or $40 for both. No upgrade path, as Wario64 said. Jeremy, anything else on that, or do we kind of speak on that already? Or how do you?
No, that's it. I mean, if you haven't already played those games and you intend on getting a PSVR 2, you should absolutely get both of those games.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably one of the better VR games that are available. They're short, right? And, you know,
I would be okay.
I mean,
with
they're
that.
short, but they're but the things they take advantage of VR in an interesting way. Like most times you expect first-person game, this is purely, you know, isometric style, and it just does a lot of things that are interesting. And without giving it away, I don't want to do that, but check
it's
it
nice.
out.
It's definitely nice. It's one of those. That's when I was on monstervine.com. I think it's one of my early reviews over there on that website. So shout out to them. And it definitely was one of the better PSVR experiences. Right? It's like you're looking into a diorama and you're like. You looking around like, where is this guy? Where's he going? Like, so it does a lot of cool
and
cool
you
things.
Are interacting.
Yeah, it does a lot of cool stuff. And usually you mostly play with the controller, right? So you don't need to use the technology from 2006, right, to move around the mouse. So I just think it's a little gross that, dude, just backwards compatibility, or if you had the original, like, give us an upgrade path. I think that's a little gross. But they're worth it. Those games are worth it if you've definitely never paid for them or played them before. Last quick thing, and then we'll move on to what you've been playing. Yuji Naka is arrested again. This time it involves insider trading regarding mobile battle royale title Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, man, that Mr. Yuji Naka, I shared an elevator with this man once. I know I said it on Wax before, but had I known that he was going to get arrested twice on insider trading charges, I would have walked out of that elevator with the quickness.
Tell you, man, they take that seriously.
Yeah.
You get arrested immediately.
You're next to a white collar criminal.
I didn't know that.
A deadly white collar criminal.
When
hey man, White Collar was a great show.
Okay, Dalan. Okay, Dalan. So we're going to what you've been playing. I know we've got.
Just throw that in there.
Yeah, we've gone a little bit along, but I think we had a whole bunch of stuff to talk about. So we'll do a little what you've been playing here and get out of here. Jeremy, what have you been up to, man? It's been a little while since we've seen you. I know you did mention WoW, right? The new expansion of that. What is it called?
No, he didn't mention it.
No, I was saving it for now to avoid derailing things.
Hey,
but
as you saw, we do not need any help in derailing.
No.
Right,
so primarily I've been playing the new WoW expansion Dragonflight. They, without really knowing the context here, just suffice to say that they made a lot of really good changes and they're moving forward in a really good direction. The last two expansions have not been very well received, primarily due to the way that they were handling things like endgame content and that sort of thing. But this is like a huge step in the right direction. It kind of goes back to its, to earlier expansions roots a little bit. It's just been really enjoyable. I'm really surprised by how much I liked it. I primarily picked it up because they added a new class that looked like a lot of fun, and it has been. But the systems and other changes they've made have also just made it a blast to play. Things like, being able to ride a dragon around certain zones and stuff like that in more than a way where you're just floating there. Like, you have things that you can do while you're flying, and you have to actually maintain elevation and that kind of stuff. But anyway, it's been really fun. Now, other than that, I also been playing Metroid Dread on my Switch. Whenever I'm not at home.
Real quick, Jeremy, as far as World of Warcraft, when's the last time you had played it before Dragonflight, I guess? Or this brought you back after
played
how long?
it about halfway into the Shadowlands expansion, so that would have been about a year ago. I just kind of hit a point where it wasn't engaging me anymore. The things that they were requiring you to do on like a daily, weekly basis just weren't interesting without getting too into the weeds. And again, just really good changes all around this time. So I'm really happy with the way that this went.
This expansion brought you back. I guess it's like, all right.
Yeah. Definitely.
All right, and you also were playing a little Metroid Dread, my game of the year.
Yeah, so I started playing that. I've had it for a while, like just sitting in my Switch, and I just never really got around to it. So this last trip that I was on for work in Vegas, I was sitting in the hotel room. I popped it in, and it's like, wow, this is excellent.
Amazing.
Like,
Yeah.
So
game of the year.
I got that, and then the last thing, as far as not something I've been playing, but something I intend to start playing. I picked up Chained Echoes on the Switch, which looks really good and has been very, very well reviewed so far. It's kind of like a 16-bit era style JRPG with mechs. So think like Xenogears meets Chrono Trigger.
Ooh.
And that's
Chrono
pretty much...
Trigger. Okay.
and that's pretty. It's at a high level. That's the rundown. I would check it out if that sounds interesting to you.
Totally.
No, you got his attention because he actually played through Chrono
I finally
Trigger.
did play
And
through
it's-
Chrono Trigger, yeah.
That's
And it's great. And it's great.
Yeah,
And it's great.
and so it's also available on Game Pass. I got it on the
That's what I was
Switch
saying,
because
that's
I
what I was
knew
saying.
that I would primarily play it if I was going to be, mobile somewhere where I wasn't able to get to my PC, PS4, or PS5, that sort of thing. But yeah, it's on Game Pass as well. So if you have Game Pass, there you go,
Ooh.
risk-free chance to
Done.
try it. And I would recommend. I again haven't started playing it myself, but just based on everything I've seen, it looks excellent. So I have high.
Expectations.
Hopes.
Well, no, high confidence that
okay.
it's gonna be good.
Well,
See,
and the
I was
reviews.
laughing the whole
You
time
convinced me.
because
I'm
we're like,
downloading it right now. I'm literally.
Hey, no, you had me laughing because I was like, yeah, we're talking about what you've been playing, and you decided to bring up the game that you haven't been playing.
Hey man, he's got high confidence. He just said it, Dalan. Come on, give him a
Yeah,
chance.
I'm fine.
Give him a chance.
I'm just spreading. I'm just I'm
Spitballing.
spreading the good word.
I will say. So the funny thing is, you didn't even say like, let me. You have Game Pass, I believe. So you could have been like, let me, or you don't.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I do, and I could have, but based off of what I had seen, that was how much the trailers and the reviews that I read, like the way that. So when I read reviews, I don't necessarily look for a conclusion. I read what's being said about the game, and if those things interest me, then I'll check it out, right?
As you
And
should.
based on
As you should.
what I read and based on what I've seen, I'm like, okay, yep, this is right up my alley.
I want to mess with it in Game Pass, but the thing is, it's one of those long games, right? That is kind of like, yeah, I would like it portable, right? Like instead of like having to sit at your in front of your TV.
Yeah.
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 But you still have the option with Switch, right? So, Adeo, anything, man? You've been kind of sick, huh? You've been kind of dealing with nothing.
I haven't played shit.
All right, there you
That's
go.
what you've been
There you
playing.
go.
Nothing. Real life.
Nothing.
I was sick. That is
I was,
what you guys-
dude. I was so sick. I was playing Sleep the entire time.
Okay, that's a good game.
I thought,
It's a good game.
dude, I thought I had. So it was right after the night after we filmed. That was like the last podcast, right? I felt it a little bit, but I was like, it's just like a cold or something. And then it just got progressively worse. And then I got worried I got COVID. I don't know if I got COVID through you,
But
Carlos,
by the way,
over the internet.
I am currently infected with COVID. It did hit me hard.
Damn it.
For like 10 hours, and then like a couple days after, I was still feeling a little groggy. But it was a good like 10 hours of. By the way, I beat a video game
no
in half
joke.
of those 10 hours. I did play through a game, which I'm gonna talk about.
I did not.
I see the Rona floating in the background on your screen.
It's a little rough. I'm hoping to get back though, because honestly, we talk about wanting to stay home and play video games, but there's a world out there, man. There's kind of a little bit of a world, and I'm not even an outdoorsy type of person at all. With Jeremy, I feel like you kind of outdoorsy-ish a little bit more, right? I'm not even like that at all, and I'm like, damn, I gotta see the world, man. I gotta see that. But
I need
I haven't
some
seen
sunshine.
sunlight in
A little
3
sunshine.
days.
You get that vitamin D.
yeah. So like I said, the first day I had COVID, I was like, you know what? Perfect timing. I'm not going to work because I'm just like, just groggy. But I will play the Dark Pictures Devil in Me, and I did play a co-op with Luis, so I'm sure he might have something to say on next week's podcast. I usually play these with Dalan, so I'm sorry, Dalan. I'm kind of cheating.
Hey
on
man,
you
we're
on
still
this
gonna
game.
play it. I got it installed.
We're gonna do it. We'll play the other version of it. This is definitely, Dalan, the buggiest Dark Pictures game for sure, dude. Like, there's things bugging out. There's Luis has, I don't know if he'll put them on Twitter at some point or something, but there's like you can see through guys' shirt. There's only like half of his body is there. Then with some of the characters that supposedly died earlier, just pop in for a second, just a quick little second, not even to scare you. You know, like how games will scare you for a second, or not even like that. It's like it literally, this character exists now and then it disappears.
The curator shows up in scenes like that. I don't
That's
know
what
if
I
he's
was
talking
saying.
about the curator.
No, that's what I was saying. Like, it did not happen like that. That character was alive and well.
It did not happen.
That character was alive and well. It wasn't even part of a spooky scene or anything like that. But other than that, like we've talked about before, you play anything in co-op, it just makes it funner, man. It just makes anything fun. Even a game like this that is not as great, definitely not as great as The Quarry, even though multiplayer-wise that game pales in comparison to this, because you're actually playing co-op, right? It's based kind of an old-timey, like a kind of a murder house type of thing. You know, I don't want to spoil it, Dan, because we're gonna play it, right? But I liked it. I don't think it's their best Dark Pictures game, but it's still, it's still fun enough. It's still wacky enough. I think it takes a while to kind of ramp up. I wish the kind of spooks would happen earlier than they did. But definitely had some fun. Me and Dalan, we're going to try to kill people or save everyone. We'll figure out what we do out here. Other than that,
we normally try and do both.
We try to do both. The other thing, of course, I'm still kind of hitting up Bayonetta 3. I forget. Last week I was kind of like a little down on it, I feel, but I don't know if I'm like a little higher on it. There's multi-form bosses, which is kind of cool, where it's like, okay, now we're going to transform into something else. Very like anime, right? Very anime or whatever. Final form
7
type
different
shit.
variations of the same boss.
Yes. So I was like, all right, whatever. Now I got summons, so I can take out any of these fools. And you can ride summons in this thing also, which is super wacky. It's not fun at all. But there's a lot of dumb stuff happening in this game for sure. I got to play it some more to kind of give a final verdict on it. But it's kind of like one of those things where it's on my Switch. I've been sick with COVID, so I don't kind of get I have to really focus in, right? I'm like, I'm going to play my Switch. It just doesn't come that easily. The last two we got here, Dalan, me and you played it, right? We've played these two games. We'll go into Callisto Protocol if you so desire, sir. I did game tape solve it. I'm not trying to. I don't want to.
You beat it. Oh, that's right. That was the game that you beat while you were sick.
I will say, the game's not bad, but it's not great either, man. It's definitely like some stuff like where it's like when we get to Dead Space, and I know we've been seeing videos from Dead Space coming up where it's like they revamped the guns and all that. I was like, that looks good. That looks great. That looks like fun. I feel like the Callisto Protocol, the unfortunate thing is the guns aren't necessarily fun, because like you mentioned it last week, right, Dylan? You get the blaster gun, the laser gun right off the bat. It's like, I'm chopping shit up immediately. Protocol takes a while. Cutter. Yeah, the plasma cutter. Protocol takes a while, and even when you get it, the guns aren't necessarily like that fun, and some of them seem even like interchangeable. But the biggest thing, and I know you'll like this, Dan, because you love your roguelikes and your Souls-likes, like you were mentioning earlier. There's like definite difficulty spikes in this game that are like, fuck this game. I'm about to take this disc out and throw it in the trash. It's not mine, though. I would never do that to you, Gamefly. But I literally was like, I need to return this game immediately. So I'm kind of looking forward to... I don't know how you feel about that, Dan. If there are any games, maybe you're that much of a better gamer than I am, that when you get to these difficulty spikes,
I just think it's certain types of games, and for what I have played of Callisto Protocol, it seems like the controls and just the gameplay itself was built in a very simple fashion. Even though, yes, it has the nice jump scares to it, and I'll admit I've been enjoying the storyline, though they went from 0 to 60 real fast at the very beginning.
Yeah. It's got a nice opening.
Like they rushed that opening because, all right, I will say this: most of it takes place on a planet, but you start out on your ship, and when you get to the planet, there's this huge skip, and they're like, nah, let's just cut out all the bullshit. We're just gonna throw you into the mix. I'm like, oh, okay. So
which gives you the sense of the scope of the game, right? Like the scope, it could have been bigger, but it's let's bring it down. Let's bring this. By the way, the game is short, but it feels longer than it should be. It's one of those.
That's only because they don't really give you good directions on where you're supposed to be going.
Yeah, it does. It definitely doesn't have the Dead, because they're trying to avoid the Dead Space comparisons, right? And it's really more melee focused than. Dead Space had a little bit of melee, but not really. Not like this game. Not like this game, right?
Carlos, I immediately hit R3 at some point while I was moving to try and get my line to show me where I needed it.
It's not showing you shit. You better pay attention, man. You better be paying attention. But anyway, so what? How are you feeling about it, Taylor? I know, how you feeling about it?
I think I do need to play it a little bit more, but like I said, the only portion about the game that I'm feeling right away is the simplicity of the battle mechanics. It's dodge, swing, dodge, swing. So,
and it's like
hopefully it gets more intricate than that.
Do you want me to tell you or not, Dalan?
No, I'll find out.
Okay, you'll find out soon enough.
So
the other thing, of course, God of War Ragnarok, Dalan. How you been? Because I'm pretty sure I'm farther than you in it, and me and Lisa are farther.
You very much are, and this game is not dodge, swing. It is
good.
Pay attention, because you will die if you misstep.
Now, have you been playing? Have you gone from Callisto to playing God of War? Because I beat Callisto and I went back to Ragnarok and I was like, this is gaming right here. This is fun. This is fun.
gaming.
That's pod racing.
This is some pod racing
This
right
is
here.
pod racing.
So fun, dude. Like so fucking fun. So fun just to move around and swing around your weapons and
Just to not feel like you're limited in
your
scope of movement.
production values are out of this world, which I understand. Callisto Protocol's like AA peeking into AAA. I get that, the scope of the game and all that, but
Why was this game
Ragnarok.
not game of the year? I don't get it.
so far it's game of the year, Dalan, is what you're saying as far as Ragnarok.
For me, you know what? I can't even remember all the games I did play this year, so I'm gonna go back through whatever log that I have before we get to like the last episode of this year, and I'm gonna look at what games I did play just so I can say, oh, maybe that one might be on the top because I might have enjoyed that one way more.
Yeah, I already
can
have.
definitely say this. Sonic Frontiers is not on the top, but I can't say it's at the bottom.
Spoiler alert.
Yo, they just announced they sold 2.5 million copies of that game.
Frontier.
So-
Like I said, it is actually a good copy of Sonic.
Success.
It
Wow.
is
But
definitely
not your
better
top
than a lot
five,
of their
Dylan?
other things.
But not one of your top fives of the year. It's a that when you gotta think
Hey,
about that.
man, that's
How about
a
this?
difficult, That's a difficult question. Probably not.
How about this? Callisto
I don't know.
Protocol.
House of
Hey.
Ashes was really fun. Though.
Dalan,
House of Ashes was
Callisto
fun.
Protocol. It's gonna have a rough time getting on that list. It's gonna have a rough
No,
time.
it's-
Rough go. But
Let's see
hey,
what happens.
so that hey,
Facts.
that's been an episode. Salient Points number 93. Thank you guys for joining. I know it's a little extra packed show, but look, we had Jeremy. We talked VR. We talked about the Game Awards, all that fun stuff. I will say this though, Crisis Core is out, dude. It's out today. I think it might even be in the mailbox right now for me. Gamefly
Forgot about that.
sent it out to me. I'm kind of hyped, but also like the more I looked into it, I kind of made a mistake. I looked into it and I'm like, I mean, it looks okay, but damn, not Final Fantasy VII remake-ish, right? Because remake was something else.
No,
That thing was
it's
super-
not on that
No.
level.
So-
It's PSP ported to PS5
Yeah.
and looked pretty and revamped. the
So
battle system a little
I'm
bit.
game flying it. Jeremy, are you kind of picking up Crisis Core?
I probably won't be just because I played through it on PSP and it's like
Yeah.
I've done
Hey,
this before.
there you
There's
go.
not
Get
enough
ready to
new
side
there.
quest, Carlos.
for
Get
me
ready
to do it.
Side quest. You're gonna be. Side
I looked at
questing.
the trophy list or like a trophy guide, and it's like a big chunk of that game. Getting that platinum is a lot of side quests. Dalan, but are you
get
grabbing
ready
it?
to side quest.
Are you and I played the original. I actually
No.
did play through the PSP one, but
Yeah, no, I played through the PSP one and I did the side quests on the PSP one and I enjoyed that. But I'm like, this game did not need to be remade. It didn't.
well,
just didn't.
it's an excuse. It's an excuse to make a couple bucks, and they cleaned it up a little bit. But if you look at like
Yeah,
they
they're just
side-
they're
No, they
just
could've
riding
did
on
this-
the hype train from remake.
for
Yeah,
sure.
they could have just did the same thing that they did with 2 and 365 days or whatever the heck it is. Just make a video of all the cutscenes. You'll be
There you
fine.
go. Dale, any thoughts on that, or what do you think, man? Or is that a wrap?
I don't plan on buying it day one, but I will GameFly it
Ooh.
when GameFly sells it for $20.
There you
That's
go.
probably what
Carlos
I will
Macias.
gameplay it just to test the waters.
There you go. I'm Carlos Macias, the master of what, Dalan? Damn, it's been a while, Dalan. What am I a master of this week?
Turbo Man.
Turbo Man.
Okay,
It's
master.
Christmas time.
Master of the Turbo Man, Carlos Macias. Dalan Kirkwood from Up in the Mountains. Thank you for making it, Dan. I know you were kind of iffy on if you're going to make it this week, right? So thank you for
Yeah, I made it.
taking the time.
My percentage is going higher than Luis's at this point.
Oh, okay. A little challenge there. You were raising your hand. Were anything particular, Dalan, or you're good?
No, I'm just like, thank you.
Okay.
I'm here.
All right. Deo Blas from Up in the Bay, or the King of Mid Bay. Thank you for joining us. Looking very festive in your sweater, sir. I know you have your
Thank you.
background blurred out, but I feel like there's still that Dexter couch back there.
You would be
Who
right.
is this?
You'd be right. Who is this man?
Is that not Emmett
Who
Smith?
is this
I don't
man?
know.
Who is this
I
man?
thought it's Emmett Smith. I
Who
don't know.
is this man? Jeremy Lowe, special guest this week, man. Thank you for joining us, sir. Nice to have you over here. I can only imagine that Christmas tree when you pulled it out, did the little flop. There's a little plastic flop when it kind of came out of the box.
It was in 2 pieces, but
Oh,
yes.
There you go. Well, thank you for joining us, Jeremy. We'll see you guys next week. Later.
Deuces.